and also be reintroduced to the My Encinitas app, which I find super useful, and I use it all the time to report little things, potholes, stop signs that are covered, things of that sort. And so we appreciate all of you being here, and I'm going to introduce the people who are going to talk. We're going to have Shane Watts from the Sheriff's Department, and we're going to have Karen Carhart from the city of Encinitas, and then our council member Joy Lines at the end, if she would like to speak, we'll give her a chance. And all of those people, I'm sure, would love to hear any questions and so forth you may have. So again, thank you all for being here.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you all so much for coming. I don't want to be like, yeah, so just stand. Our direction when I came here, it's almost 2 years ago, has really been this kind of community engagement, and really our focus has been on quality of life issues. So the issues that may not rise to a criminal level, but it's a nuisance, and for example, our parks, our downtown area, there were some issues there that when I came on that needed to be addressed, and by using other avenues rather than just coming in and arresting people, putting them in jail, that's not necessarily going to fix the problem. So we really made a strong effort to engage with that population, the unhoused, the people that have our mental illness, our addictions, and that has been a real focus. And I think that because of our proactiveness, I think we have seen an improvement in those areas. We still have a lot of work to do, for sure, but those are the types of issues that we really have been focusing on, and that's with our cops unit, who go out and they're checking our parks in the mornings. We've adjusted some resources, whereas before we hadn't done that. But by adjusting some resources to get people, early in the morning, deputies early in the morning that can go do the checks, and then also having people in the evening that can go do those types of checks, where it doesn't impact our patrol responsibilities as well. So that's still going to be a commitment. And something that we are always focused on. But this is also the opportunity for us to really hear from all of you what the issues are that you're seeing that maybe we're not seeing, so that we can, address those issues immediately. And that's kind of how our downtown walks came to be. We thought that it was very important to hear from our business owners, hear from the community in our downtown areas. So once a month we all get out there. We did one today, and we walk up and down and we check in with every single business. We talk to the employees. If the owners there, we talk to the owners. But it's really to get that face-to-face connection, so that they are not only comfortable calling when there's an issue, but if there are issues, we can address it immediately and not wait for it to become a bigger issue, or for that issue to affect another business or something else in that area. We can just jump on it. So that's been very rewarding. It's something that we'll continue to do. Our neighboring cities have asked for it, so we're doing it there too, in Solana Beach and Del Mar. And then, just some of the hot topics. Immigration has been something that our community has been dealing with from the federal government, coming in and doing their enforcement operations. That's at City Council and in other public forums, I've been very clear that, the Sheriff's Office does not, we don't enforce immigration, we don't ask anybody their immigration status, we don't work with, coordinate, or do any immigration operations with any of those federal agencies. We're not allowed to by California law. So SB 54 is very clear that our local law enforcement can't engage in those activities. So we don't. So a lot of times, we hear about these enforcement actions on social media or from the community that's calling it in. We have asked that if those agencies are going to come here and conduct any kind of immigration operations, if they let us know. And really that's an ask of ours. They don't have to do it. But the city's been very proactive in engaging with these federal agencies to ask those types of things. Like, just let us know so that we're not worried about masked people coming into our city, taking people, and putting them in the back of the car and taking off. I mean, that sounds more like a kidnapping. So, you know, from our perspective, we want to make sure that they are who they are saying they are, and that they are, you know, conducting an immigration federal investigation. So if what we've asked the community is, if you see something that doesn't look right, to call us, just like you would for any other crime. I think it's better that we get there and we can at least try to engage with them. We can't interfere, we can't stop, and we can't impede, but we can certainly ask for a supervisor and make sure that, for one, they are federal agents, and two, what kind of operation they're conducting, so that we can report that back to the city, because that is a priority. I don't want to use our resources, you know, where we think that it's possible that a kidnapping occurred and now we're out, you know, roaming the city looking for kidnapping suspects. I mean, that's not a good use of our deputies' time. And then one of the other ones, and eventually I'll hand it over, I'll introduce everybody, but one of the other ones is e-bike safety and just bicycle safety in general, roadway safety. At the last city council meeting, if you saw it, you know that roadway safety is going to be a #1 priority for the sheriff's office here. Making sure that everybody that is on our roadways is safe, they're abiding by our laws, they're not blowing through stop signs, red lights, or slowing down, and same for our bicyclists. You know, it's just as important that they stop at those stop signs and red lights as it is for the vehicles as well. So we have increased our enforcement efforts with the juveniles on e-bikes. Unfortunately, they know that when we try to stop them, if they just keep riding or they start riding erratically, we're not going to chase them. And that comes from me. It's not worth us putting that. I mean, it's a child on a bike. They're already making poor decisions. The last thing I want them to do is ride into the roadway trying to get away from us, and then there's an accident and we're dealing with something much more serious. So we've tried other avenues to be, put us in unmarked cars that they can't see that we're, a sheriff's car riding around, and then we can follow them after we've observed the wheelies down the 101 or some of the other activities that they do. We can follow them and wait for them to stop somewhere, and then call in a patrol car that can go and talk to them. We're still doing a lot of education. However, the e-motorcycles, the ones that don't have the pedals, they look like dirt bikes that we see these kids riding. A lot of the capabilities on those are 60 miles an hour. And put that in the hands of somebody that doesn't even have a driver's license. They don't make the best decisions. It's dangerous. It's scary. And our priority is to make sure that they're safe from themselves sometimes. And a lot of that means educating our parents, making sure that the parents understand what they're giving their child, what the capabilities are of this, and the legalities of it. Those e-motorcycles are not even street legal. They're not allowed on our roadways. Unless you have a motorcycle license and the e-bike has been equipped with all the safety features that would make it safe for our roadways. Turn signals, you'd have to have a license plate. So our direction, we've given a lot of warnings on that. We're beyond the warning stage. So now when we see them, we do the same similar tactics. And at some point when they do stop, we take those. So we impound those like we would an illegal vehicle, and then the parents have to come and get those out of impound, pay impound storage fees. So yeah, we're not going to continue to give warnings for those, because they really are dangerous, and we have seen some collisions even in neighboring cities with those types of vehicles. I think I'll probably talk forever, so I'll just do a quick introduction, and I'll let them each talk about their division and what they oversee. So we have Mike Davis, our lieutenant.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me. Mike Davis, Admin Investigations Lieutenant. I've been here about a year and a half. I appreciate you guys having us out. Some of the things I did the walk this morning that I would pass on is don't hesitate to call us. I know that the cities here, they're going to talk about the My Encinitas app, but I hear it commonly in the community that, well, I didn't want to be a bother, but realistically, we want to know if something's going on, if it's, you know, the hair on your neck stands up and it doesn't seem right to you, whatever it's involving, let us know. Call either 911 or the non-emergency number. And people will even go as far as they tend to minimize things sometimes, and they're on the non-emergency line for a few extra minutes where I was like, you should have just called 911. Just don't hesitate. We want to know. We can get our deputies there to respond to the scene and figure it out. And if it's nothing, that's okay. We would rather know. But if we ended up, it was something of substance, we want the deputies to be there to take that, have that positive impact. So do not hesitate to reach out to us. And, you know, investigations, we're going to have the time change earlier. So Sergeant Ramirez, who'll probably speak next, is our investigations sergeant. But surveillance video, a lot more affordable these days. There's tons of companies, tons of camera. If theft or anything like that is going to be committed, it goes a long way in helping us solve those crimes and that follow up with our investigators. But we're here, we're a resource. If you have any questions after this meeting or in the future, a situation arises, do not hesitate to reach out to us at the station number, email, if you have one of our emails, whatever the case is, we're always here, happy to answer any questions, and we want our businesses to feel supported. So thank you for having us.
Christy Ramirez.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Sergeant Christy Ramirez. I supervise the investigative unit. I have about 8 detectives and a detective secretary, a couple of analysts that work in our unit. I've been with the North Coastal Station for almost 3 years now. I've probably worked almost every position at that at our station. But how do we get our cases? So patrol gets the initial 911 call. They get dispatched to a scene, and they will do the initial investigation. If they require a detective to come out to the scene, they'll give me a call, and I'll come out to send detectives out to the scene to help with that investigation. Otherwise, the case will get written, it'll get approved by a sergeant, and then it'll get sent to the detective unit, at what point I will assign a detective to that case. They will investigate that case further, and then it goes to the district attorney's office, and they liaison with the district attorney until the case gets for issuing consideration, right? How can you guys help us with our investigations? As a resident, maybe put video cameras. Video cameras are huge. We get so many cases without any investigative leads because there's just no video cameras. So even the little cheap ones off Amazon, those things are huge for us. They have great quality, and they're able to give us leads to be able to move on with the investigations. Alarms scare people away. You know, neighborhood watch, talk to your neighbors, let them know who's supposed to be at your house, who's not supposed to be at your house. Just honestly, if you see something, say something, give us a call, let us know, and work with the investigators to help make your cases strong, because we want to put those bad guys in jail. All right, thank you. It's good meeting you.
Thank you very much. And then Christy Trampus.
I'm Christy Trampus. I'm the traffic sergeant here. I've been here about 6 months, so still kind of learning the lay of the land, but as Captain Watts said, traffic, as you all know, is an ongoing project that we are working on here. Here in Encinitas, we have 4 motorcycle deputies, and then 5 traffic cars that are out responding to collisions, abandoned vehicle calls, illegal parkers, traffic hazards. You guys call it in, we respond. And also that includes DUI drivers. So kind of like Christy was explaining, we rely on you guys to help us. So if you see who you think is a drunk driver, call it in, just call 911, okay? We can't be everywhere at once in this city, so we rely on the public to help us figure out where these problem areas are, these problem drivers, and then we will respond and hopefully, you know, get there as quick as we can and do what we can. But like you said, I think you spoke my speech about e-bikes and all this stuff we're working on. We're increasing our enforcement, not only for e-bikes, but just traffic enforcement in general. So we've increased DUI enforcement, and then we're out there doing our traffic blitzes. So once a month, we're getting out there and allocating all of our resources to just traffic enforcement. trying to get people to slow down, stop at red lights, get off their cell phones, which is a huge one, and just pay attention. So hopefully that will minimize the crashes. So, but we really do rely on the public. So thank you for anyone that does call in, because we don't know where the problem areas are. I mean, we do, but not everywhere. So like I said, DUI drivers, people call in all the time. Hey, there's cars blocking, fire hydrants, red curbs. As you know, beach community in the summertime, I'm sure you all have seen it. Parking is a huge problem, so don't hesitate to call in. We will come out and we will take care of it for you.
Yeah, one of the, speaking more about traffic, as an example of, how well we work with the city, we identified a need for additional traffic units out there. And the need was to try to get ahead of our DUI collisions. We seem to have a lot of DUI collisions. So the city was very much on board, and they supported that request, and that's why we're getting actually 2 more traffic units that will be focused on DUI enforcement. They'll also do other enforcement as well. But what we were seeing was, our normal traffic cars, they're going to collisions, they're writing collision reports, then they're going to court on tickets, and so their time for proactiveness starts shrinking and shrinking, because before they know it, they're a couple traffic collision reports down, plus they have a court day and their days off. So, we were saying like, hey, if we could start getting ahead of it by really zero tolerance on getting behind the wheel while intoxicated. There is no excuse in today's time for somebody to get behind the wheel when they're intoxicated. I mean, zero, there's so many more options out there, the ride share. So I have zero tolerance for it, and we're gonna make a real strong statement that if you come here, you're welcome to come here and enjoy our establishments, but you're gonna do so responsibly, and you're not gonna get in a vehicle, because if you do get in a vehicle while intoxicated, there's a high likelihood that you're gonna be held accountable. We're gonna pull you over, and you'll face the consequences. That's gonna be a zero tolerance. So we're, yep.
I just had a quick question. I noticed that sometimes, like, the city of Del Mar will have police in the area, and these other cities will come. Can you share a little bit about that? When they come in, I guess they're doing like traffic ticketing or something.
Yeah, so
And do you guys go to other cities?
okay, great question. So one of the things that we were, when we were gonna make roadway traffic safety our #1 priority, a commitment to it, to slow people down, really to meet Vision Zero. That's what really this is stemmed from. Vision Zero, one life is one too many. We do not want to lose any lives on our roadway. So, then I look at it as, what can I do to help us achieve Vision Zero? And that, the mechanism for that a lot of times is enforcement. We do give warnings, but enforcement tends to slow people down, and our mere presence, you'd be amazed by if we put a patrol car right here at this stop sign, everybody will stop. I mean, it's just, so how do we maximize our efforts to get people to pay attention? So one of the ideas that we came up with as a command team was, once a month, and we change the dates, and we don't tell anybody, but once a month, our detectives, who are mostly dressed up nice, going to court in court attire, they get in patrol vehicles, they get in their patrol uniform. Our cops team goes out. Every able body that's law enforcement gets in a uniform, and that gets us out on the street, and it's a day of traffic enforcement. So that takes what we have already, and patrol too. Patrol is focusing on their downtimes on traffic enforcement as well. So that gives us an additional 15 cars out there, 15 to 20 cars depending, just on traffic enforcement. Well, because we weren't quite satisfied with that, then we reached out and started asking our other sheriff stations, hey, would you mind sending us your motors? Could we have your motors that come here and help us on enforcing some of these? So we were getting motors from all over the county, sheriff's deputies on motorcycles that came here to assist us. And then we asked our other cities, Oceanside, La Mesa, Carlsbad. I mean, there was quite a bit. San Diego PD came in, and that was the day that I think most people were like, oh my goodness, there is somebody on every single corner. I was getting photos of Waze on the direction app, and it was like all over. It was just like, and I was like, okay, well, it's working. People are noticing. And that's really the goal is for people to notice and maybe think about like, hey, maybe I need to slow down. We definitely need to be stopping at these red lights. You run this red light and you're just going to stop at the next one. I keep telling people, 2 seconds of you making that light didn't gain you anything. You're still going to get to where you're going to go, probably in the same amount of time. And same with our stop signs. Really stopping at those stop signs, making sure that our crosswalks are clear and we're not just going through. And then going back to the question, we have assisted. We call them strike teams. So we do go to other cities if there is a need and they ask. Our motors will go and help out and write citations in other cities as well, like Del Mar, like Solana Beach, and neighboring agencies as well. But we've really been asking for those resources to come here to help us and get the message out to the community. I answer it? Yeah. All right. And then we have Josh Snow.
I have the newest one here. I've been here about a month and a half. So I'm the patrol and traffic lieutenant. For patrol, we have 4 teams, and one of the things that the captain spoke on is the reallocating our resources. With the shift of the day, fall back, we're looking at implementing or moving our B shift over to the later hours, so starting around 3 in the afternoon to 3:30 in the morning, so they can be out and visible within the community, help deter some of the crime that we see happening throughout that time. I can't express enough, everybody here has said it, the importance of community involvement. Patrol has 2 functions. We respond to radio calls and we're proactive. Our mission for patrol is if radio calls and calls for service go down, proactivity should go up. That's in hopes that you see them out in the community. If the community side of it is if we don't know, we can't respond to help. So it's very, very important, which I've seen in the month and a half here, the abundance of community support that we have is absolutely amazing. So the better we can work together, the more you call, and even if we respond and it ends up being nothing, we still want to know about it. If enforcement action needs to be taken, the deputies will take enforcement action. So I know our cops sergeant is going to speak next. I have some business cards that I will pass out. If for some reason you guys try to report a non-emergency on the app and it's simply not working, please email me. Those emails come in to me and my Lieutenant Davis, and we forward those out to the sergeants. So any issues that come in can be handled accordingly. You'll have an open line of communication with me as well via email. So if for some reason you need to email me directly, I can either email you back, answer your questions, or I can pass that information to the appropriate sergeants and get your questions answered and get resources out to the areas that you guys have concerns for.
Yeah, and just touching a little bit more on the changing, I am constantly looking at the resources we have and how can we maximize those resources for the needs of the community. Historically, this time, we start seeing those, they call them the SATG, right? The South American Theft Group that comes in and they start doing home burglaries between that 5 o'clock and 8 o'clock. As the sun's going down earlier, it's getting darker. These individuals, typically they're out in our unincorporated areas, but they do come into our city as well. But historically, and going back a couple of years, we know that this is when they like to, come in and commit their crimes. So how do we get ahead of that? Why, instead of just waiting and hoping they don't show up, I would rather be proactive in that response. So for us, we have now people that we moved to cover that window with extra people. So that's why they come in now at 3 o'clock, 3 in the afternoon. We have deputies coming into the office, then they're out in the street, and they don't get off until 3:30 at night, or in the morning. So they're here 12 and a half hours, but that really maximizes the resources for what we believe could be what the next threat or the next criminal element that we're trying to forward. Same with our ghost cars. You probably see these cars parked strategically, some of them out in the unincorporated area if you drive around. Those are there to be a deterrence. A lot of these people are coming in from outside of our city. They're coming down from LA. When they drive around, I want them to, at every corner, to see a patrol car and go, this isn't the place I want to commit my crimes. I'll go somewhere else. And that, you know, a lot of times it's displacing crime, and there's no way to quantify what we did discourage. But if at the end we can look and we go, hey, we had a huge decrease in burglaries, where historically we've seen an increase in this time, I think we're winning. I think that we're staying ahead of it. So that's going to be something that we're constantly doing, and we do it on the cops team. And I'll let the sergeant speak to that. There was one other thing that you mentioned. I'll go back to Dustin Hall.
Hello everybody, Dustin Hollins. I am the sergeant for the cops team. I've been here about a year, and I was a detective here a couple years prior to that. Pretty familiar with the area. I know there's 3 cities that we work here, but we're responsible for Encinitas and Solana Beach. I have 8 deputies. 2 of those are responsible for the houseless situation that we have here in Encinitas, and the other 6 will help. They typically deal with quality of life issues and host different responsibilities. The cool part about our unit is that we help out with all the units you just heard about. So we'll help out with traffic, we can help out with investigations, we can help out with patrol calls, or we got to go plainclothes, we'll do some plainclothes details, we do minor ops, we do tobacco sales. I mean, we do all these different things to help out with whatever situation is going on within the community, to help out with the community members. The other cool thing about our unit, we have deputies that are from this area, from Encinitas, and they know everybody. So it's really cool if there's an individual that we're having problems with, and I'll talk to one of my deputies, and they go, oh, that's so-and-so. I'll contact them, and we can go along with that. The other cool thing about our unit is that it's whatever issues come about with the community. We have you guys familiar with My Encinitas? So if you're not, okay. So if you're not, it's a platform that we respond to if there's any quality of life issues. We'll get the email, we'll read it, and we'll contact those individuals as such. But yeah, as everybody just mentioned, we're here for the community. That's our sole purpose, and I am the supervisor for that. So I'll be right here if you have any questions. Yes, ma'am. So alcohol sales. Okay. What's specific? What's to know about it?
Yeah, so we have done several of those operations. You know, for me, keeping those illegal substances out of our youth is very, very important. So we've been very proactive on doing the shoulder tap, and what that is that means we put under our direction youth, somebody under 18, in front of the establishment, and they ask the patrons as they're coming in, hey, could you buy me alcohol? And you'd be amazed unfortunately, there are adults that think that that's appropriate. So they would go in. If they say no, great, we thank them. But if they go in, they make that purchase, and they go to give it to the underage individual, then we come in, we arrest them, they get a citation for it. So we've done those throughout the year, we'll continue to. One of the other ones that we have done is where we actually tried to go in and buy the alcohol. So we'll have the same minor will go in, go grab whatever alcohol they want, they go up to the counter, they try to make the purchase. It's really upon the clerk to ask for identification to prove that they are within the legal age to make that purchase. If they go ahead and allow the purchase, we come in, we make the arrest, and we also report that to ABC as well. You know, one of the big parts of this is, yes, the clerk will be held accountable because we'll make that arrest on them, but we really want these establishments to work with their employees, make sure their employees are not giving these restricted items to our youth within our community. So that's another big one we do. We also do, dealing with our alcohol establishments as far as downtown area. We go in and we have done operations where we are looking, we call them over intoxication details, where we go in and we're not in uniform, but we're observing. We're making sure that our establishments, our bartenders are not over serving people to the point that they are obviously intoxicated. And if we do see that, then we go ahead and act on it, and we report that to ABC as well. There was an establishment that actually got same clerk, got 2 arrests, and unfortunately he didn't learn the first time. Hopefully he learns the second time, or maybe he's not even working there. But yeah, protecting our youth is always going to be a priority, and we're going to continue to do those kinds of operations because it is important.
Many people appreciate it. Also, with all these illegal smoke shops we have, there's a lot of illegal tobacco out there. Flavor still being sold legally.
Correct. So this year we had reports that one of those establishments was selling things that were not legally able to be sold. So we did an undercover operation. We went in, we made the purchase. Twice we made a couple purchases to substantiate our search warrant, and we went in, and you probably remember hearing about it, but we went in and we seized a lot of product. And that's also something that we will continue to do. But we really encourage our parents, as you're hearing your kids talk or you're talking with your kids, one of the establishments was reported to us because of a parent. The parent was engaged with their child. The child was saying, oh, everybody knows you can go over here. And thank goodness they reported that to us, because we went over there and sure enough, that was true. So please, as you're engaging with your children, if you hear those kind of things, report it to us. You can even do it anonymously if you like, but it's so important for us to get ahead of those. Absolutely. Do you want to introduce your group?
Yeah, so this is Deputy Mike Whitney. Back there is Corporal Ken Wells. I have Corporal Jim Bennett. And back there with his hand up right now is Colbert, Deputy Colbert.
And so the cops unit really is, I always call them my SEAL Team 6. Like they're the ones that I send in to really get those quality of life issues that I don't want to tax our patrol team with, because they're responding to 911 calls, but I can have them go in and focus on the issue, whether that be noise disturbances, neighbor stuff, parks, beaches. Sometimes we have issue with the campfires. They were going in and doing those walks late at night, making sure that people were extinguishing their campfires and they were out of off the beaches within the time. Same with our parks. One of the other things, the unhoused, working with the city on the HOPE team, it's so important for us to have a group of individuals that really get to know our unhoused population, because a lot of them we're dealing with some mental illness. They might be having some addiction issues. Our mere presence, if they don't know who we are, escalates things in their mind. They get nervous, they get scared, and it tends to lead to an outcome that we didn't even want to get into. We were just making contact. So by having our cops team that go out and during the week, they're out meeting these individuals and providing resources. Like, how can we help you? Like, let's get to the root problem. Do you need somewhere to stay? Do you need some resources? How can we make those connections with you? And if they choose to accept, then we make our referrals and we can get them the help. If they're resource resistant, that doesn't mean we stop. We continue to engage with those individuals. But I think it's important that we get that relationship built so that they're comfortable enough just talking to us, because if we're dealing with the mental illness, they're erratic sometimes, and it can escalate where we don't want it to. But we have seen an improvement on just those relationships. A lot of them are on first name basis with the team, which is great. But that doesn't mean there's not accountability. There's still accountability. So just because you're resource resistant, if you continue or you're breaking our municipal codes or our laws, we're going to hold you accountable like we would anybody else. And that, I think that's important. And we're constantly, you know, weighing that out. But we will always offer those resources first and give them the opportunity to accept those. I think what else? You guys are amazing. So, encampments. That's another one that we've really been proactive on. Not just because of a sanitary issue, but, you know, fire season. We are, you know, as the weather's getting colder, the last thing we want is a fire to be built in an encampment and it to spread, and now we're dealing with a fire in the community. So we proactively check our areas that we tend to see encampments go up. We give them 72-hour notices to vacate, and at the end of the 72 hours, we come in and we take everything that is still left behind. But and we've also written several fire citations as well, because we just, in today's time with the Santa Anas that are coming, we really have to be proactive in that as well. Yes, ma'am.
Is this time for Q&A? I'm just not sure.
Well, yeah,
Is
yeah,
that
yeah.
okay? Okay. We just did a homeless or an unsheltered forum at our Encinitas Community Center, and the overwhelming question from 100 guests was, please tell us the exact steps if we see an unhoused person that might be episodic with mental illness, and if we see someone that is not an emergent situation but may need help and resources. Kind of this, the folks really wanted like step by step.
Right.
How do we?
And it's so
do
hard
this?
sometimes to, you know, if you think that somebody's having an episode could be a danger to themselves or others, we ask you to call 911. If it's somebody that you see that maybe looks like they might be in need of resources, that would be a perfect example of putting that through the app. Chances are we're going to know who that individual is, but it gives us another opportunity to go make contact and engage with that individual. Yeah. Yes, Deputy Mayor.
Captain West, let me just follow up on that too, is that the city has case managers who helped individuals to find housing. Right now we are filling that position, so we're in a little bit of a gap as of today, but we do have the funding for it. We are filling the position to have our own case managers that will help find the right housing or the right solutions for the people that they're encountering through the COPS program, so that they're not just dislocated, but whatever their needs are, our case manager will be attempting to help them address, and it could be other things other than that. So I just wanted to follow up with that.
Perfect, thank you.
How about we talk about the app and then have a real Q&A?
Yeah.
That way the app that we allude to.
I think that's a good segue. So my name is Kieran, I'm with the IT department, and that doesn't tell you I don't work in public safety, but I work with the app. So if safety is ever in jeopardy, I leave it to the professionals. They can decide what's appropriate, always err on the side of caution. What we are great for is anything that needs data. Think potholes. If you need something filled, our public works team is amazing. You can go through the app, report an issue. We have a nice map where you can pinpoint exactly where it's at. Crews will get out there. Oftentimes potholes are filled really quickly. Things like encampments, if it's something that's a little more concerned with just debris, things like that, we work very closely with the Sheriff's Department. We have great teams out there, but again, not for emergencies. Public safety is in jeopardy, always go directly to the Sheriff's team. We have a lot of stuff that people don't realize outside of filling potholes and things like that. Getting permits done through the app, you can check your status, you can do things all right there. There's a lot of resources as far as outreach, so we do monthly videos, we do economic development outreach that I know Delilah has been a big part of. We've been pushing a lot of this through our app. So the idea is city services in the palm of your hand. Everyone has a smartphone, not everyone can make it to City Hall, so we want to bring all of our services to you. And so I can do a walkthrough, show you guys the app if you haven't seen it. If you need to download, we have QR codes ready and I can give you more information. Yeah.
I tried to make a submission in the last week and I kept getting this. Are you, should I talk to you afterwards?
Yeah, definitely. So technology fails sometimes, and that's a great idea. But good news is
I was trying to get back to work and I spent
Yes.
about an hour and kept getting it. But I did send an email out. I think it was saying you were copied of
Yeah.
you never get it.
And so that's the great thing about the app. Sometimes functionality for very niche issues, we do a lot of different data sets that we're looking at. And so a great tab on the app There's contact information. You know, you have the app, you don't want to go through it, technology is failing you. You got numbers directly to each department. You can call, get someone on the phone, you can book appointments, all right there. Everything you need is in one hub. So if you ever do have an issue like that, click contact info.
Email, and I sent an email.
Yeah, that's what's great is any of the emails goes directly to the rest of my team. We can always do that, and we're proactively making changes as we get feedback from you guys. You know, I want to report an issue, but I don't see it on here. You can always email, reach out, and that's where we're looking to continue building this based off community feedback. It's always a two-way partnership. Yes.
Karen, could you talk about the 24/7 nature of using the app and what the expectation should be on responsiveness?
Yeah, so we have a lot of teams. So as you submit an issue, it gets assigned to the right department. So it doesn't go to a single person. It's very decentralized where you get the city services you need. And that's where it is great, where for certain issues, you can see turnaround. I mean, within a couple days for things that Public Works has, and emergencies, obviously, that's a different thing. We're not going to be there in 10 minutes. Always call the sheriffs when you need stuff on demand, but it is available 24/7. The contact does go out, and then we do work with contacts with the cops team and the Hope team with the sheriff. So,
and that's for all city services. So I mean, it doesn't just have to be, you know, sheriffs or law enforcement related. If you see an issue with a street or a street light, stop sign, anything that you think that the city would want to be, you know about so that they can fix it or look into it, it's also for that as well.
And also, it's really important when you do report an issue, give your contact information. We'll ask for that on a couple. You can create an account and have a whole log of everything you've done, and some do require that. But it's really important so that we can follow up with all of you on any issue that you do have. It's not just gone into the air and you hope for the best. We have that assigned. We close the tickets. It's assigned to each department. And there are some cases where streetlight's a great example, where the city's not always responsible for every streetlight. So sometimes it'll be closed, the issue's not fixed. We give you the contact information for the correct agency. So the city is responsible for the city infrastructure, a lot of the utilities, but we do work with so many other agencies that sometimes ticket is closed and this isn't something we have direct control over.
And there's some accountability there too, and it also allows us to track these things. So if we start seeing a few of these come in, then we know there's probably an issue that needs immediate attention. But there is accountability, and it also, like I said, the tracking purposes is huge for us too, just so we can look at it. Accountability for me, since I've come here, has always been my goal. I could say things, but if I don't follow through and make those changes, well, then we're really not getting anywhere. That's where I so appreciate the community and all of you who are comfortable enough to bring these issues to me. I get approached all the time. My office is always open, but I really love the Shane first name basis. That's how when I wear this uniform, it takes so much for me to get out from behind this uniform, just because you see the badge, you see the gun, and puts us at a little bit of a disadvantage right away. So I always try to say, I really want people to understand who wears the uniform, not the uniform. Get to know the man behind it. And that hopefully is the perception that I put out there. I certainly hope so, because I really, really try to listen and engage, because what makes a community, it's not me, it's not you, it's all of us. It's all of us working together to solve these issues that we're all dealing with. And I can't do it by myself. I'm humble enough to know that I'm not the smartest person in the room, but I'll surround myself with the smartest people. So please bring these things to me. Feel comfortable enough to stop by. If you see me at City Council, come say hi. But give us the opportunity to work some of these issues together. Yes, ma'am.
You're extremely well spoken. I appreciate that. And that leads me to an idea or a question if you guys do something like this. We raised our kids in Northern California, and one of the things they had, which was a huge impact on not just myself, but my children, is, and I see it for the e-bikes. So they looked at it for drinking and driving. They bring in a car that was mangled, and I think it was another, you mentioned like a Hope organization, so I think it was a separate organization. Right. But one of the things the high schoolers had to do to get a driver's license or get a license is an officer would come in, and again, you're so well spoken, you see the inside, you see you as a person, not just that. Right. But it was basically like, I'm scared the hell out of you right now, and it really worked. Like giving ideas when you look at your phone. That's 10 seconds. Close your eyes while you're driving for 10 seconds. How'd that feel? So I wonder if you guys
So we do engage.
work with the schools.
Yeah, we do work with our school districts, and there's a couple organizations that do a lot of the bicycle safety. There's a program that CHP focuses on every 15 minutes.
Oh, maybe that's.
And that is exactly. I was a school resource officer many years ago, and that program, it was brought to the high school that I was working at, and it was eye-opening.
Right.
Even as a law enforcement, but more importantly as a parent, I was tearing
right,
up.
Right, that's what I mean. They're very
there was,
impactful.
Yeah,
Oh,
right.
great.
And my kids had.
Oh, good.
The kid, they called them death cycles.
Yeah, the parent had
The
to go.
kid and the parent
yeah,
had to go
I had to
together.
go. Yeah.
Park at school.
Yeah.
Correct.
Oh, good.
Right.
Okay. Well, good, because you're all so well spoken.
Oh, thank you. I
So
appreciate
I think it's great to be in front of them.
Right.
Yeah.
We also have the Explorer program for our youth that want to get into law enforcement or see what we do. We really encourage that program as well. Another way for the youth to be involved.
No, thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're
to
very
add to
welcome.
that, we also, as a cops unit, we'll go to all the elementary schools, we'll go to the job fairs, we talk to the kids, they ask us questions and stuff like that. So we're really interactive with all the children within our community. I think just today or this morning, I think we had a first ribbon thing that we had to do, a red ribbon thing that we had to do with the kids. So we're very active with the children in this community.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
So speaking of the children, so I believe I read somewhere one of the city council members wanted to have a full-time sheriff at SDA. Is that true? And do you feel that's necessary? It seems a little much to me.
So the idea. I think people's perception of what a school resource officer is maybe not accurate, or they just don't know what the idea of that program is. It's not focused on enforcement. It's really there to interact. As a former school resource officer, I only made a handful of arrests, and that was situations where there had to be an arrest. But 95% of my day was getting to know our youth, getting to know these students. I can't tell you how many there was several times where I came home and I told my wife, we're adopting this person. They're going to come live with us. Like, that's it. Because once you gain, trying to gain the trust of adults is hard. You try earning a child's trust. That's even harder. So the goal of that for the school resource officer is to really earn their trust. Don't be threatening. Be there as a resource, because there's so many people that are children that are going to our schools that there are issues that are deep down, and when they finally feel like they have an ear and somebody that can actually will listen to them and that could help them, they open up. And that's really the idea behind the program. It's not focused on enforcement, because if it was, that program would fail. The kids would be distant. They wouldn't open up to us. We go to the football games where we're in the cheer crowd with them. They really look to us as somebody that they can go to when they need help. And like I said, I'll share one example of that. There was a student that stopped going to PE, and she was ditching school. So the school district was at the point that they were going to try and move towards expelling her because she had had too many truancies. And usually, I respect the faculty and the admin staff. They do their thing, and we always, we had a great working relationship. And I always said, hey, if you feel like I bring something to the conversation, then let me know. I'll come in, but I'll stay in my lane. And so it works out real well. They can still do their discipline and doesn't need to have me involved. But they did bring me into this one because, back then expulsions were a big deal. There was going to be a hearing, all because this child was not going to PE. So I listened to what was going on, and I just asked, can I speak to her? Do you mind if I have a shot at it? They said, yeah, go ahead. So she came in my office. We started talking, and she was very standoffish. And I just started opening up about my childhood, my history, She burst into tears. And the whole reason this young lady was not going to be, it was because of her hygiene. She did not want to have to go the rest of the day smelling like BO. And she only had she only had one sweatshirt. She wore the same pants every day. And we really got, that was one that I was like, we will adopt this child, and because of her, that school created a store that was free for the students, that we had clothing, we had hygiene products, shampoo, but it went even much deeper. We got in resources. I went out and visited her at her, I won't call it a home. It was a trailer in the middle of the field that had a hose running in through one of the windows. That was it. That's what this family was dealing with. And it was quite a walk. If you're familiar with San Marcos, it was way off of Buena Creek in the Twin Oaks area. She was walking that every day. And you know, you can't help but your heart break for this person, for this young lady who, but nobody asked. Nobody wanted to find out why you're not doing PE. And if we just ask those questions and we have those reports, then we can get to the root issues. And we did get that family some services. And it was years later. I was a detective at the time, and the front counter came and got me, and they're like, "Hey, Detective Watts, there's a girl out front. She's asking to talk to you. She really wants to talk to you." I was like, "Okay." So I go out, it's her, and she was applying for a job at McDonald's, and she wanted to know if she could use me as a reference. Right? I mean, talk about like, oh. So I said, you know what? I'll meet you there. So I went to the McDonald's. I talked to the manager. She was working there, and I would go by just to get an iced tea to see her. And it was beautiful. I mean, those are the success stories, you know. But that's really what's behind that program. It's trying to get those kind of successes. Yes, sir.
Hey, question. My wife and I we moved here a couple of years ago, and we just lived out on Montgomery.
Yes.
And I apologize, I was late.
Oh, don't worry.
And I haven't used the Lion City's app yet, so I should. Now I know about it, and I should probably submit this. But what we've noticed here, when we were living on Norfolk and Montgomery, I saw personally two collisions, you know, at the intersection of Norfolk and Montgomery. One was a girl that she spun around 180 in that, and then like only a month ago, right here on Montgomery in Chesterfield, a woman went out in the intersection. There was a biker coming down, and he got T-boned. He went for a bit up in the air, and I saw that personally. So in the last couple of years, we've seen 3 accidents like that, or injuries at these intersections,
Correct.
which are, in my opinion, are really unsafe. I literally crawl to be able to see if I'm coming, and so everybody's hedges aren't cut. There isn't the 20-foot red curb that people can afford for daylighting. To me, it's a huge issue here, and I don't know. Us being new, I'm just curious if you guys have any. Give us an update or anything like that, or what? Am I the first one? I'm sure I'm not the first one.
So your issue touches a lot of different departments, right? And that's so important for those to get reported through the My Encinitas app, because not only will it go to me, chances are especially if we have serious collisions and we can see that, like, hey, we've had some serious collisions, I'm going to automatically start doing some enforcement in that area. You know, my job is to change driver behavior, and the mechanism for that is get pulled over and get tickets, or giving warnings, educating the driver. But if you were to submit an app and you put all those concerns in there, then it could get to each of the different city groups, so Public Works, code enforcement, and we could all look at it, and then we could all work together to try to overcome that. But ultimately, yes.
If I could just interject, I didn't mean to.
No,
so just Joy Lines, your representative here in District 3 and Deputy Mayor. So as a fact, there are some My Encinitas app requests for these non-signalized intersections for our community. But you don't know that, right? I know that because I get to see them. But you don't know that. So I would say you have a specific concern, please do put some time into, and Kieran can help you today to get that app downloaded and put some time into also entering that, and that's just good information for us. I did want to follow up by saying City Council does get copies. On a weekly basis, we get copies of all the My Encinitas app requests. I always scan it to see what people are saying in my district. And so that's a valuable tool for me as a leader in the community. I did want to thank Captain Watts for his passion and intelligence in leading us here in the city. And that's really valuable. The city council contracts with the sheriff, so what we do is we always try to understand what our future needs are and whether that means additional funding in the next budget cycle. So it's a process. If we need to really evaluate other safety improvements, we're open to do that. Right now, I'm looking into red light cameras. I think we have a problem with attentiveness of drivers, and it goes to the cell phone usage, and I know you're trying to enforce in that area, and you're having some success, so thank you for that. So we're going to evaluate that, and it'll come before City Council, and everyone will have a chance to give their thoughts and whether that's something we should bring into our next budget. And that's true, Joy, for the request you had, the question you had about the school safety officer. That's being studied by our staff, and that item's going to come forward before City Council for public comment. So it's not something that we've decided we're going to do. Like everything we do, it always comes forward for public comment, and so look forward to those opportunities to engage. And then the only other thing, two other things. One is I'm available at City Council. I can give you my card if you would like that today. We also have one of our Public Health and Safety Commissioners here with us today. Would you like to introduce yourself?
I actually was going to do that. Thank you. I appreciate that. My name is Steve Chesnelsius. I just became the chair for Public Health and Safety and working with council and mayor. With the 25 work plan, I've heard a lot of the issues that are being talked about here today, and talked with Captain Watts and his team yesterday. We have ad hoc committees dividing and conquering all these issues, and I'd like to say tentatively we're looking at trying to have a public hearing where we have these entities that will come talk about the HOPE program, fire districts, things like that, right after the new year. So it always is a little bit frustrating for me to listen to people saying these things to me on the dais, but I can't respond back to you right then and there. So I want this to be a Q&A between the hearing and our entities that are subject matter experts, and really give you guys a little bit of relief by having that one-on-one talk like kind of we are right now. So we're shooting for that shortly after the first of the year, and I really want to change the dynamics of this commission to be of value to our council and the citizens. So
Thank you, Steve, for your service.
yeah, thank you.
I hope that you all will have more questions, and I look forward to hearing them, but also know that you're also ambassadors to the rest of the community on what you've learned today, and for the dialogue coming back to City Council and the Sheriff's Department. So thanks for being here.
I just wanted to respect everybody's time and thank everyone for being. I'm going to say thank everyone for being here. And please note, I hope Kieran can stay for a few minutes. If you don't have the app, if you're interested in learning about the app, he can help you get it on your phone. I know I needed help getting it on my phone, not because of the app, because of me. And thank you all for being here, and we really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you all for taking the time to meet with us. Very much appreciated.
Yeah, thank you.
Donuts.